Good evening, my time-traveling pirate family. Trying something new. Probably not the one that's gonna stick, but we're trying. It's Captain Jack back with you once again. I know the streams have been few and far between. I don't know if you noticed, I've been casting a heck of a ton lately. So, uh, with that being said, I've been rather busy. Haven't been able to stream as often, but I'm hoping to get back to that now that the Tranquility season has ended and casting's becoming a little bit more few and far between right now. So let's hope that we can keep that up. But nevertheless, doing some VoD review tonight. So if you're interested in learning about casting, I'm using myself as the example. I'm literally going to cringe as I listen to myself casting and try to do my best to give myself constructive criticism, but I am also my own worst critic, so I guess that'll be pretty easy. So, should be very interesting to see how this goes. Do want to remind you that we do have an emote goal that we're trying to get to. 25 subs unlocks our next emote thing. So if you can, either by gifting a sub or getting a sub yourself, is greatly appreciated. Remember, buttons at the bottom. $4.99 or Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime sub gives you access to some amazing emotes that we have right now, created by the lovely Caden Vera, as well as help support our amazing community, which we're actually very close to our first Twitch payday, so to speak, and we'll be able to do like a giveaway or something real soon. I'm waiting to see kind of what y'all on Twitter recommend that we do with that, so should be interesting. I do want to take a quick second. Oh, I just realized that that's still up. I am so smart. This is already going well. I did want to make sure to shout out some people because I don't remember if I had gotten them last time. So give me a second to go ahead and do that. Nope, that's not what I wanted. So we have A Jellygato, Evac Graphics, and Catboy Chongyun. Thank you so much for joining the Jack fam. Greatly appreciate it. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss you from last time around. So I haven't checked the volume on this yet, and unfortunately my phone is playing a bedtime story for the Beeb. So I can't check it that way either. So we're going to try and hope that I don't blow y'all's eardrums out with this. Doesn't look too bad, but I also want to make sure it's maybe a little bit louder. This is also the music, so I don't know how that's going to fare getting into the casting aspect. We shall see. So, alright. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to be rewatching parts of this video. The goal is to try to find things that I can improve upon, maybe looking back at things that I know that I'm supposed to be practicing and might still be messing up on, and just overall trying to figure out how to make myself a better caster. That's really when I do VoD reviews for other people, that's the exact same thing I go into it with. So I'm gonna try to do the exact same thing to myself. And honestly, as a caster, every now and again you should go back and view your own VoDs and see ways that you can improve, because it not only takes other people watching your content and kind of analyzing it, but also you being able to kind of like separate yourself from the medium and be like, okay, like watching myself, what do I know that I can do to improve? So let's get started.
Good evening, Overwatch fans.
That's really loud. So first thing, because this was even though this is my most recent, this is the reason I picked this video. no matter what happens, always, 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 always double check where your audio is coming from. Because every time I set up either Discord or Streamlabs or TeamSpeak or whatever, I typically have it set to my Yeti. But updates on your computer can automatically switch that back to default. Now, I believe beforehand, Ocean and I were the only ones that were in TeamSpeak together. So I don't know if Ocean noticed. Hey, what's going on, Phantom? Welcome, and thanks for the thug scream right there. Got me perked up a little bit. So always, always, always check where your audio is going and where it's coming from. Because this is a prime example of the fact that I didn't check that, thinking that I was okay, and I spent the first 10 minutes of this Contenders Trials casting from my webcam mic and sounding like it was a garbage disposal. Actually, let's listen to a little bit more of that to hear how absolutely perfect it was.
Fans, and welcome back to another amazing day here in Contenders Trials, where we have got a heck of a ton of barn burners going to be going on today. Starting off in the EMEA division, we're going to be seeing if...
Okay, that's enough. I've punished myself enough. I think I've punished you enough. Oh, that hurts. Oh man, that hurts. Yeah, so that ended up going. Let's see, we're at the what 5-minute mark. That went until about here. 13 minutes in, I finally figured it out. And this is another thing that I need to figure out a workaround for. I haven't figured it out yet because it's not, even though I have two screens, it's not easy. You casted a Contenders game. No, I casted a Contenders Trials game. Come on, keep up. No, this is actually my second time casting Contenders Trials. I did back in March. March? Was it March? Yeah, back in March. I did the first one this year. Yeah, so. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing Contenders. I'll actually be doing Trials, another match for Trials in the EMEA next week as well. So keep an eye on my Twitter for that. But yeah, so I went 13 minutes-ish without knowing that my mic was this bad. And the big issue that I had with that is the fact that I couldn't see Discord. Like, I have it open on my computer at all times, and I have various channels set to, like, just ping me whenever stuff's being entered in the channel. And this is one of them. Unfortunately, I've gotten so used to being pinged in all the different channels that I'm in that unless there's a lot of pings going down in a certain channel, I don't pay attention to it. And so it wasn't until around this point that I ended up seeing the live channel for Contenders Trials and noticed that, hey, Captain Jack, what the hell is the garbage can that is your microphone right now? So, needless to say, again, another reason to always check where your audio's coming from. But I need to figure out a better way to set up my Discord so that I can see it along with everything else. And it might just be my setup right now. Like, my second screen is over here to the right, so it's very hard to see. But I'm hoping when we get into our new house and I get kind of a better setup going on, that I'll be able to set it over here so that it's more kind of in my line of sight, if that makes sense. Unfortunately, right now, just due to space, I can't do that. So, but that's something I know I need to work on, is setting that up, because if I get a message like that, I could have caught that much earlier on than when I did. So, needless to say, Ocean ended up. Hey, sweetheart, you're supposed to be asleep. You're supposed to be resting, young lady. Go sleep. Yeah, Artemis is still hurting from the effects of Moderna shot number 2. I am resting. I'm in bed. Very well. I mean, she's been sleeping most of the day anyway, so. Um, but yeah, so that's 2 things already that I really need to be working on, and that doesn't even have anything to do with my casting. So.
Gets into the back line, and that's exactly team fight.
All right, let's see if that works.
There we go.
A bit better. Sorry about that, folks.
Look, listen to that. I sound so much better now.
On their end, we'll check with production and see if that is working out. But looking at this fight going back and forth right now, Sheer Cold are really looking to set the line.
So the goal with this now, with the way that we set that up, because I was trying to find the best time to jump in, because unfortunately I can't just jump into the play-by-play rule immediately, because I don't want to throw off Ocean's timing. And so I felt that when the fight was in a downswing, that was going to be the best way to pick it up. Do a little bit of analysis and either continue on to the play-by-play or try to throw it quickly back to Ocean, who then could throw it back to me. Let's see if I was successful in that.
Line right here, Raspberry Racers have been kind of getting away with murder so far today, this week rather, but not going to last for long. The Deadeye coming out.
Okay, so what I did is I took it in the downswing for the analyst role, and then I picked it back up, resetting the tempo. So after this, I should be back in the play-by-play role with Ocean retaking over the analyst role.
Both from Asking and Lethal. Asking's the only one that ends up finding anyone, and it's Doge in their backline. Cloud being the next to fall. That McCree's got their sights out, and Crandop diving into that backline on that angry monkey is just going to continue to push back as Sheer Cold hold control.
One thing that I still need to keep working on is determining when a fight is over and and how to make easier transitions. I've noticed a lot in my casting that I wouldn't say that I'm long-winded, but I kind of think ahead what I want to say about certain things to a certain extent, like a good maybe 5-second buffer. But unfortunately, especially in Control, if I don't give enough time to my analysts, that really ends up hurting their ability to push in. And as you can see right now, Doge is on the wrecking ball. So, one of the 2 heroes to go down at the beginning of that fight is going to be able to get back in rather quickly to restart the next fight. Now, the question is, will Ocean have enough time to break down what they need to be able to get it back to me in time for the play-by-play?
John's looking for a setup here, but we're just gonna wait for the backline to move and maybe try and pick off.
This was amazing.
Is that transcendence, so they're either trying to force it out early or just get rid of that Zenyatta entirely. And KZ's gonna go for that Graviton Surge.
All right, Pulse Bomb coming in, ends up finding Anj, but the cleanup is in the front line right now. NKZ just charged to the max and is cutting through Raspberry Racers like butter. There is nothing that they can do. They're still getting pick after pick, trying to see if they can turn it back in their favor, but there's no way, no how that Sheer Cold is going to let them touch this objective. 2-0. That Sheer Cold take Busan and put a point on the board.
So I was trying to remember what my point was. So another aspect to always talk about ahead of time is player names. As casters, especially at this level, it's very important to make sure that you're looking through the rosters of each team and breaking it down. We actually did that before this, but you can tell that we're saying 2 different names for NKZ. And the reason that I'm saying NKZ is something that Chef Billy taught me, that in that corner of the world, I think NKZ's from, like the Netherlands, I'm not 100% on that, but somewhere over in the European area. They pronounce Z as Z. So it would make more sense to say NKZ than in the US where we would say NKZ. And so, as you could tell at the end of that, I'm saying NKZ, Ocean is saying NKZ. And so, I should have communicated better at the beginning, before we got started casting, saying that although, we went through the list, and the way that I do it is I go through all the names. I say, asking, NKZ, yada, 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 yada. And I make sure that my analyst understands that as well. But we should have been on the same page for that name, so that was on me.
Yeah, that was a pretty consistent map for them. I mean, there were some team fights they should have won or played a little bit better, and they just didn't quite get them across the line. But other than that, Sheercold, they won both control points. They won the control map 2-0. And what I really want to see from them is not just can they get back into contenders. I don't really care about that. I'm pretty convinced Sheercold will be back in contenders next season. I want to see can they break that top 4. I want to see them improve on so many levels, and I was kind of getting a little bit more convinced. That was a solid map from them. But Asking played incredibly well. I thought it was very simple for them. I think they simplified the game pretty well. Simple engagements, isolate a target, kill a target, and it was pretty strong from Sheercold.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's pretty much how the game is played. It's who can end up zoning out their backline just a little bit easier. And it seemed like Sheercold had it online. I mean, and that's the great thing about having that Mercy as well, right? Like, yeah, it's great to have the Brig to be able to defend your Zenyatta, but having a healer that's able to get out of the heat of the action really provides a lot of mobility that allows you to keep heals on the field. Instead of just having both of your healers completely deleted first thing out, as you see the teams moving in. So now it's going to be Raspberry Racer's pick to decide where we're going to be heading next and seeing if they can turn this back into a 1-1.
It looks like we are going to go over to Dorado. It looks like they felt a little bit more comfortable in the Poke versus Poke matchup.
So one thing I know that I really need to start working on here, and you'll notice this as we go do some of the other in-between match stuff as well, is that unless I have the players' names right in front of me, it's really hard because I work with so many teams. It's hard for me to remember specific players unless they make like absolutely amazing plays in the map that we just watched. Um, combination of depression, dad brain, take your pick of any other ailments I probably have that messes with my short-term memory. But one thing that I've kind of been trying to find a way to work around that. So, like, obviously, I have the casting sheets open, or not the casting sheets, but the player sheets open, so I can look at them rather quickly. But the biggest issue that I have is that, due to how bright my monitor is, I can't really change that on the fly without changing how blinding my monitor is, and how much it would totally just like blank out my face. And so it's important for me to be able to find a way that I can have those players' names on hand, whether it be, I don't know, having like, post-it notes on the sides with their names on it, or just like taping their roster to like a corner of my monitor, or just having it like on paper in front of me, but like under the camera, like where I'm holding my hands right here underneath the camera, and I could still read, but still be able to talk to the camera rather directly. So that might be something I need to start looking into to see how that'll work, because I hate not being able to be able to make comments about particular players, which is pretty important at this level of play. Like I continue to kind of analyze more of the meta game, as you saw right there. Not to say that it's bad or anything, but there's more that I could do. There's more I could do. So I'm gonna go ahead. Dorado was interesting. We'll go ahead and skip ahead to after halftime, where we head to Numbani.
see if they can turn this series around. I feel like if they get a little bit of good fortune, they nick a map, then they can get back into this series. Because this is not 100% sure cold, and I want to see 100% sure cold.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, we always see stuff like this, right? That even though it's just a couple of minutes break, sometimes it's just enough to kind of derail the momentum that we're seeing coming out from the team that's on top. But really, to say that Sheer Cold has momentum is odd. To be completely honest with you, all of the fights so far have been incredibly close. Even Dorado, essentially a first point hold, less than 60 meters, was still taken to the final minute of that map on Sheer Cold's attack, despite them holding a very close defense. So it's really going to be up to Raspberry Racers to kind of draw a line in the sand, say that we're not going to let you bully us around anymore. And I think Cloud might have that answer coming out on this Widowmaker.
I think they were just looking for something, maybe looking for someone who might be like trying to go charge or strike to this thunder. That might be something that they were doing. What's interesting to me, or what I want Raspberry Racers to do, is just take an aggressive engagement, because realistically they didn't have good engagement on the last round, and Sheer Cold could be a little bit rusty on the defensive side, so maybe it's all hell, no hell's bound, aggressive engagement for Raspberry Racers might be the ticket.
Yeah, that was an interestingly sneaky approach as we see the Tracer battle going out in the back line. We see Hydrangea falling incredibly low. We're going to go ahead and get back to the support of the team. And Asking is looking for Cloud in that back line, waiting for them to find their way up. Lethal falling incredibly low, as is Asking. And there it is, the dome shot to go ahead and secure that elimination. And is looking for Gustav to try to come in with that res, but it looks like they're not going to be able to get it in that time. Hydrangea now looking to chase down Cloud, but they're going to go ahead and head into the back line for that mega health pack. And right now, Sheer Cold are holding a very strong defense. I could have thrown way back when, so let's rewind to see when I actually could have thrown that. Incredibly battle. That was
no hell's bound, aggressive engagement for Raspberry Racers might be the ticket.
Yeah, that was an interestingly sneaky approach as we see the Tracer battle going out in the back line. We see Hydrangea falling incredibly low. We're going to go ahead and get back to the support of the team. And Asking is looking for Cloud in that back line, waiting for them to find their way up. Lethal falling incredibly low, as is Asking. And there it is, the dome shot to go ahead and secure that elimination. And is looking for Gustav to try to come in with that res, but it looks like they're not going to be able to get it in that time. Hydrangea now right there. I could have thrown it right there. Instead, I think I hold it for another like 10-15 seconds. Actually, I hold it until the fight actually breaks out again. But see, those are the times that I'm still having a hard time with it. Like, it's pretty obvious when it's like a 2v6 fight, right? It's done. Like, unless a huge ultimate's getting ready to pop, which obviously my analyst can throw it right back to me if that's what happens, or they can take it themselves. It, like, obviously that's gonna go, that's a done fight. But it's these fights that I still have an issue with, because I felt like the tanks could have been moving in there, but they end up waiting until Lethal comes back from spawn. And so kind of timing that out and kind of understanding the full scope of what's going on, knowing that they're possibly going to wait, and making sure that the analyst has time to break at least a little bit down before the fight reconvenes is really important from a play-by-play. Now looking to chase down Cloud, but they're going to go ahead and head into the back line for that mega health pack. And right now, Sheer Cold are holding. Yep, all this could have been analyst time, because the poke coming out from Raspberry Racers is more of a tickle.
I mean, both teams have the nano based online, so we're probably going to see two nano in a second.
And see, now the nanos, with that nano being invested, that's technically the fight starting. And because I took up so much time already, Ocean has no more time to analyze. And so it's good. I'm interested to see what Ocean does here, if he holds it until like maybe the first elimination, because I kind of offset his tempo. All right, we see the Nano now coming in onto Doge, looking to see if they can take NKZ out of the fight. Will end up being successful and going to make their way back up to try to get the follow-up onto Asking. Going to be unsuccessful as Gustav brings Lethal back into the fight. It looks like that push, despite the picks that have come in, it looks like they might actually be able to turn this sucker right on around. That res really helping out. Hydrangea does finally find Cloud in their back line, and 2 ticks already on this objective. Third one getting ready to come in as Hydrangea touching to try to hold everything together. NKZ now back in the fight as well, finds Gustav amidst the chaos, and just shy of that 3rd tick. They will go ahead and lock down this objective once again, bringing us under 2 minutes. Another thing that I could have shortened to be able to give Ocean more time. The fight was done after the first couple eliminations came in, even though that pulse bomb was kind of a throwaway, essentially. Like that's I didn't even comment on the pulse bomb as a matter of fact, but one thing that's important to learn as a caster, especially as a play-by-play, you don't have to call out every ultimate, every movement that's going on the field, right? You just got to look at the important parts of the picture and try to get that over to your audience. For some reason right here, I seem to be a little bit behind what's going on. I'm holding on to certain aspects of the action a little bit too long after they've already passed. I wonder if I'll be able to pick that up later on.
You know what? Sai is probably so angry with the rest of the racers right now. Perfectly timed nano boost, a good sleep dart on a Crandop who got nanos. That should have been the team fight 1. They just need to clean it up. And they didn't clean it up. No target focus onto the remaining members. Sheer called a very simple re-engagement back in. They didn't even have to use it.
Ocean is an amazing analyst, by the way.
That's not a big deal.
If you're a caster and you ever get to work with Ocean, feel blessed. Feel blessed, my dudes.
They could use the primal rage, or they could just earn up one of their own as Lethal comes in on the tube, and oh no! A lot of that time is going to end up getting wasted due to that sleep dart coming in from Looser. And that's going to go ahead and lock down this objective for now. Crandop trying to push back, but Lethal comes in with the beam. Graviton Surge coming in from NKZ, but I don't think the follow-up is going to be there in time. Lethal just indeed living up to their namesake as the Nano goes in onto Doge to hold this point together. They will go ahead and surpass and capture Objective Alpha, start making their way through the streets of New Bun.
That was a really nice hit from Lethal. Where's the Lethal and Doge? Just try to clean up this fight and make sure that there's no early falls on the body point speed. And this should now be a pretty free objective for Raspberry Racers. There should be 2 points on the board because the body point B, there's no real advantageous holding points except that starting corner just after point A. That's probably the best place for an body point B hold. So it'll be a difficult re-engage for sheer quarters they come back into things. They have got Hydrangea behind, which is going to make things a little bit easier. Just try and split the
birds.
With that duplicate earlier in the next time, picking up Lethal already up to another
There's so much else going on, and I was just paying attention to the birds.
Away from their actual main
The dive coming in as Doge is trying to find some damage. Will be successful, but doesn't find the pick to be able to keep that payload moving in as it starts making its way around the corner to Objective Bravo. Now the duplicate coming in for Lethal. Deadeye out from asking for a head to be found, finds the duplicate in the end, thanks to Anj sending them outside of the bubble. That might be just enough to go ahead and lock down this objective. Asking you to please just get in front of my Peacekeeper. As
I was having such a hard time making that pun, and because of it, I am once again taking time away from my analyst. It's so I don't know where my head was this day. I felt like I was doing relatively well on this, but I don't know. I feel really behind, and I don't know why. Huh. This is something I often wonder, if there's something wrong with my setup that for some reason I'm lagging behind what everybody else is seeing. But I'm not 100% on that. Like, typically, like, This time around, we didn't do like any syncing or anything like that. It was just from what was supposed to be a clean feed. But sometimes I wonder if there's a little bit more of a delay than I'm anticipating. Either that or if I just talk a lot slower than I think I do.
The DPS go down. That locks down this objective once again. This Raspberry Racer's got to find a way to poke back.
Interesting.
Yep, that's all Ocean's time. And now Ocean has no time to talk.
One of the better McCrees in the European. I think this is like a new X Factor pickup for sure that makes it 10 times better. I like asking as a player, and it seems to be working out.
Ooh. A rip there from Doge, waking up Slay's big sleep onto Cranpop, but they're falling incredibly low regardless. It looks like they're going to get healed back up to be able to get back in the fight. Hydrangea in that backline looking for those supports, looking to see if they can clear out this objective. Graviton Surge comes in hard and fast for Tools, and the cleanup is fierce. With a minute on the clock, Objective Bravo is captured, and they're going to make their way to Objective Charlie.
Yeah, and positive for sheer cold. The only positive they can really take is that they've still got the nano waste, they've got a nano Winston engagement. Pretty simple or easy engagement for them in the next team fight. Raspberry Racers, though, they've got to maximize this time to take as much space as possible, try and get Lethal into a good position for this Deadeye. Maybe use it early in the fight and use Golden's Tunnel Rage to try and create some space. I want to see a sick Deadeye from Lethal.
Cloud ends up finding Asking on the high ground with Lethal. Deadeye now coming out, finds Looser as well, and the cleanup just continues to come in hot, fast, and heavy. Lethal with the fan, the hammer, tracking Cranpop as they fall to the ground. And that is going to possibly be Objective Charlie. Only one fight possibly remaining.
Yeah, but they have both DPS ultimates, so they'll definitely get a team fight. Asking using this just to get some space out the door, and then maybe they could try and win it with NKZ's Graviton Surge. That's got to be the win condition here for Sheer Cold.
NKZ falling down to half health, trying to keep everything together. Tools in the side room getting poked at by Crandop, but not going to be able to secure the kill. Hydrangea, though, does find Ana in the right room, sending Slay right on back to spawn. With a minute remaining on the clock, they'll lock down the payload just shy of Objective Charlie and live for another fight.
Maybe the win condition Sheer Cold wasn't NKZ's Graviton Surge. I mean, I can tell you it wasn't. It was Hydrangea and Asking. Maybe those are the players that are trying to set up every single team fight, because we seem to be singing them in the kill feed an awful lot. I like how Sheer Cold are setting up their DPS. They have a pulse one to set up in the early fight. We'll see what Hydrangea could do with that. They don't really have anything else apart from the Graviton Surge.
And for those of you that follow, Contenders Trials at all, we didn't really talk about this on stream, just because we were kind of told not to. But Hydrangea is actually the name of an Overwatch player, or is in honor of an Overwatch player. I'm not for certain if they were like in the professional sphere or not. But the player that's actually playing on this account is W Mimone, and the name is to kind of honor their memory. I don't know the whole circumstances around their death, but I think it was due to mental illness, and due to it being kind of like Mental Health Awareness Month. I think that's why they were doing it, if I remember correctly. I'm sure that there's somewhere on like Twitter that you can look it up, and I'll try to give more information about that. But they were doing that, and there was another player that was also playing on an account in honor of another Overwatch player for that reason. So I thought that was really neat. I wish we could have kind of talked about that a little bit more on stream.
The poke coming out from Cloud there in the side room, looking to see if they can get enough damage to take Cranbutstop out of the fight, but they do have that Primal Rage online, and it is coming out now. Sleep Dart ends
so
up
many
sending
sleepy monkeys
into
today.
the backline, wearing out that Primal Rage, and there comes the grab from NKZ. Pulse Bomb coming in just in time as the bubbles fall. Gustav and Tools going down. Hydrangea with the headshots, a full one clip taking Slay out of the back line, and that's a cleanup. Raspberry Racers, no way they're going to be able to get back in time to touch. Oh, Cloud just barely able to activate overtime, but the recall isn't there for them to be able to get back in time. Or maybe it is. Gets stunned by Anj, though. Gets sent right on back. Gustav trying to be able to get in to the objective in time, but Hydrangea sends them sprinting past the payload with a good old dead body flail. 2 objectives, though, just barely shy of objective Charlie. That's a great setting for Raspberry Racers and sets a good win condition for Sheer Colt.
Yeah, it is. It's just a simple win condition for Sheer Colt. Complete the map of Nimbani realistically. And I think that also allows them, since they're attacking first, to simplify things down. Okay, we'll just have a simple amount of Winston point to take A, or maybe have more advanced Deadeye set up for point B, and then the simple fight plans that they want to build up to. You know, they can build up to those fight plans within 1 or 2 fights because they know what their win condition is. They just need to complete the map. Raspberry Racers, it's a little bit more complex for them. They need to make sure the team fights are longer, which means the setup for team fights are longer for Sheer Cold, but they also need to make sure they're winning those team fights and making sure Sheer Cold don't have the space they need. So Raspberry Racers, they're in a little bit of a difficult spot. How do they want to play this? My advice would be just go super aggressive, right? Doge into the backline, throw a nade on him early, see what sort of chaos you can cause up, and let Cloud and Leaf will do the rest. And make sure you try and use that every single team fight. Because hopefully that will also stop A and J on the Pagita giving resources to the DPS. Because Sheer Cold's DPS are on fire right now, right? And usually in this, on a Pagita split.
So this is one thing to note that is actually okay, and I don't know if you've noticed it. So I've been saying Anj instead of ANJ. And the reason for that is that as play-by-plays, we often have to kind of shorten people's names. So sometimes you'll hear me say Hydra or Hydrange or Cran, just because sometimes the action's just going so quickly. Like, I want to make sure that I just kind of say the name and save like half a second to be able to move on to the rest of the action, so to speak. So you'll see some of us do that, especially with much longer names that are kind of like twofold. In the later match, you'll see with Funny Astro, I ended up shortening it to Funny, although I was let known by a fan on my Twitter that was actually wrong. But I need to check in with Funny Astro to make sure that that's the case. But nevertheless, like, also checking with the players or in the player sheet if they haven't mentioned a nickname or a proper shortening of their name. Just know that that's kind of par for the course. If you do that as a play-by-play, it's not, or at least I haven't seen it or been dressed for it as being disrespectful yet. We're just trying to shave half a second from saying your whole name over and over again to get to the action that you're putting on the screen.
Composition, the Brigitta's resources are going more towards the DPS on a more traditionally towards the tanks. So maybe just trying to isolate A and J and make it so the DPS can pop up a little bit more is an idea. So I want to see Doge go aggressive onto A and J, onto the backline, and Cloud and Leaf will look to finish up that target in particular. Yes, that Brigitte is getting a lot of value to, of course, in turn, help the DPS get a ton of value.
I can definitely concur with that, but you gotta be, once again, looking out for Hydrangea just in that backline constantly, and I'm honestly wondering if Ange is even giving them the support that they need. They just seem to know exactly where every health pack is and able to grab it before Raspberry Racers end up finding it. Cloud does find Crandop to go ahead and get things started off, asking...
Wait, what?
To know exactly where every health pack is, and even just in that backline constantly, and I'm honestly wondering if Ange is even giving them the support that they need. They just seem to know exactly where every health pack is and able to grab it before Raspberry Racers end up finding it. Cloud does find Crandop to go ahead and get things started off, asking, looking to see if they can trade things out onto tools.
That was a little confusing, even when I re-listened to it. Basically, what I was trying to say was Hydrangea is always in the enemy backline, so it's very difficult for Anj to try, or ANJ to try to throw health packs to Hydrangea, because typically they're so far away or they're out of line of sight. So I was trying to say that Hydrangea is, when they're even semi-low on health, they're trying to grab health packs, kind of as a dual fold strategy. They heal themselves up, but they're also removing that from the field for a short amount of time to make sure that Raspberry Racers didn't have an opportunity to use it as well. You threw off my light. Oh, now you're hungry. Jeez. I make the woman food like 3 hours ago. I'm not hungry. You've been sick all day. Oh.
But gonna be unsuccessful. Hydrangea does find Slay amidst the chaos, but it's not gonna be enough to turn the tide of the fight. That's gonna be a lockdown of Objective Alpha as they get sent back to spawn.
Again, could have thrown that earlier.
Actually elected for that approach because ANJ, you'll see, has a lot more ult charges this time, so a lot of their resources must have went over the tanks for a little bit of healing, of course, meaning they'll have more ult charge. And then look at the DPS is only charged for Sheer Gold. It's actually lower than the Raspberry Racer's DPS ult charge, so that is what the Racers are trying to do: shut down the DPS by shutting down ANJ.
Alright, we see Hydrangea moving into this backline once again, battling it out with a Cloud as those Tracers continue to do. Duplicate now coming in, lethal on that Winston, but gets melted by asking. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, do not get that Primal Rage. You're going to get shut down, but there's no way they're going to be able to push into this objective. Gustav does get found by Crandup on the high ground, and Slay is the next one to follow. The picks coming in from either side, but with the supports already down, Pulse Bomb comes in. Crandup falling incredibly low, and asking able to find Cloud with that Deadeye. The trades just continue to come in, one for one. But Hydrangea is going to be the last one to hold on, taking the point with Crandup, and hopefully going to get that payload pushing. Lethal, though, comes zooming in from the sky, able to contest, gets that second tick on the objective, and it looks like they may have to pull back. The Nano now coming in onto Lethal, trying to hold it all together as the Graviton Surge comes in from Tools. The tool is used, and it is utilized as the beam just melts down the tanks of Sheer Cold. The broom is out, and they're looking to lock down Objective Alpha with a Fury.
Yeah, they almost became a big...
I'm so irritated that this seems so slow. I feel like I cast so much faster. But I also feel like I'm on time. I feel like I need to do, like, a recording side by side of, like, what's going on stream and, like, or, like, rewatch the recording of the stream later on, but also record what I see and what I'm casting one time. I don't know if that's gonna, like, screw with anything, because Parsec doesn't take, like, a whole bunch of my space, but, like, I feel like I'm casting more on time than this video is portraying me as, and I don't know. It's weird, but internet has a way of doing that with, like, lag and stuff, and unfortunately, the best you try to time it, it doesn't always work out.
Their own strategy, that team fight. However, they
Not trying to make excuses, just my experience is feeling a lot different than this.
Seems to be getting a little bit frustrated in this DPS show. I'm getting taken out again.
And if not, then I'm just bad.
But it's a tough one there, right? Lethal,
Hashtag Captain Jack is bad.
but I think
I'm gonna get it trending eventually.
strategy for them right now is making the shot point. It's really helping them. ANJ has been struggling this map. They've been focusing on only up to that rally now. I mean, so is Gustav, but Gustav, this is on their report. They are letting
They were having a hard time pushing into this. Sheer Cold in general was having a hard time today, and I'm not exactly for certain why, because no other match that they had up to this point, if I remember correctly, had been difficult, nor was their match yesterday. I don't think they had a hard time yesterday against Olden Board. So it was just really funny to me that the match with Raspberry Racers came so close. because I just felt like Sheer Cold, at least the way that they played during Contenders, literally almost eliminating British Hurricane from Contenders and pushing them back down to Contenders Trials. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of like a night and day Sheer Cold team. It was weird watching this match.
Well, the duplicate comes out again.
And casting this match,
grabbing
actually.
the double, even grabs the duplicate, and Looser ends up putting their name on the board as well. Chooser trying to see if they can grab some values. The Sleep Dart comes in, keeping Asking from popping that Deadeye at the right time. Hydrangea in the side room! Trades the Pulse Bomb, 1 for 2 right there between Cloud and Hydrangea. And now it's going to be up to the Tracer battle. Who can clean up the other's team the fastest? The bubble comes in, trying to keep Cloud in the fight, but NKZ isn't going to allow it. Grabs the double kill, and Crandop looks to be sending tools over the side, discarding them, sending them back to spawn as the objective heads to the streets.
I thought that team fight was one off of Sleep Dart. They put a lot of work Sheer Cold into setting up Asking instead on, and they weren't able to get it all because of the Sleep Dart. But Hydrangea, that player once again, when they need kills, comes in with kills. And I Sleep Dart there from Looser to try and give Sheer Cold a bit of extra space. It's exactly what they have been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I moved the camera, so you should be all right.
I mean, even if you did, like,
Okay.
I don't want to, like, mess up here.
Everybody say hi to Artemis, y'all.
I don't think anybody's here anymore.
It says I have 5 viewers, so I hope somebody's here, and I'm not just being lied to by Streamlabs, but that also could be true. So people might just be vibing.
Another nice Sleep Dart on to Asking, which means they have to defend them when people get picked up. And now both these teams are going to try and take this high. Now it's going to be a bit of an interesting
Sleep.
He's gone to have enough.
Wow. Slay is not slaying anybody, but is literally putting the entire team of Sheer Cold to sleep one after the other. The dive comes in, and Asking and Looser just respond in kind, saying, no, don't get to do the dive thing onto us. That's kind of our thing right now. And they're going to go ahead and melt everybody down. Tools ends up finding their own demise, you know, just grouping up with the rest of the team as a good teammate does. And that's going to be Objective Bravo with a very clean sweep, giving them about 3 minutes to push into Objective, or not even Objective Charlie, just the golden box of victory.
I mean, I'm a little bit concerned there, because they're honestly starting out to see you. They start to...
I have to remember that Contenders' colors are green and white. It's not a golden box of victory, because the box is not gold. It is green. Nitpick. Hardest critic. Right here. Right here. See, this is another one of those times, though, that if I would have ended it early, I could have been casting that Deadeye. But of course, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, because the fight would have been over then as well. It would have started as soon as, or it would have been over as soon as it started. So, I don't know. It's a catch-22 right there.
Asking's not asking anymore, folks. They are telling. NKZ getting caught in the solo grab. Gets the pulse bomb as well. They're putting everything into trying to take NKZ out, but it doesn't matter. Hydrangea in the backline just being an absolute nuisance, even holding Slay at the spawn doors. Not going to let that Ana out of the spawn, and Sheer Cold envelops Noombani, taking away the map, taking away the match, and showing Raspberry Racers that it's not going to be so easy to get back up to Contenders proper.
I mean, it's not, but that's what I wanted to see from Sheer Cold. I wanted to see them dominate rounds when they need to, and I wanted to see them simplify enough to where they could get these more difficult, messy rounds across the line. I've seen what I needed to for Sheer Cold. I am convinced that they are a team that will not just be a top 16 in Europe, right? They're going to be a top 4 team in Europe if they continue along this trajectory. I think that was a really good match for them. A 3-0 over the Racers. very impressive performance from them. Raspberry Racers, I mean, they started to pick up towards the end, but I don't really think they had a game plan going into this game. Once they started to shut down ANJ, which in turn shut down the DPS, they looked a little bit better. But as soon as Point Out was gone, they stopped doing that.
I can't wait till we move to a new house. My lighting setup will be so much better so that I don't look like I'm constantly sunburned.
Just a little too hot to trot. We're going to go ahead and send it to a short break as we get a representative from Sheer Cold in to talk about their victory.
Like, for me, I get so heated when I'm casting, and so, like, my face gets really flush, but because of the way that my light is, like, I just look like I get super sunburned while I'm casting. It's so dumb. Alright, there was one other match that I wanted to see, because this is a really, I think that this is a really good example of when casters are just about as surprised as the audience is, and maybe it's not surprise necessarily, but this match between Fusion Uni and Olden Board, obviously Fusion Uni, to a certain aspect, is smurfing in Contenders Trials. Maybe even Contenders proper as well. We will see. But nevertheless, half of the team is current Overwatch League players, while the other half are just folks that they are either previous Overwatch League players or or are players that they're looking to bring up, obviously, as part of their university. Nevertheless, seeing the way that Fusion University plays in the EMEA versus how Uprising Academy plays in NA, completely different worlds. Truly, Uprising Academy seemed to still play close matches. Even actually lost a map to Drifters this last week. I don't know if they lost a map to anybody else. I don't have the thing in front of me to see what their matches were, but that's the one that I know about off the top of my head. But Fusion Uni has just been decimating everybody in their way. The only one that could possibly hold a candle to them right now is Sheer Cold. But based off of this match, I was like, I don't know if they can either. Like, they're the hardest competition in this, technically, but the way that they played that match against Raspberry Racers, either it just wasn't their day, or Fusion Uni might have a heyday with them too. So I guess we will find out. But nevertheless, this match was... Matches like this are really hard to cast, because although it's fun to watch the trolling, so to speak, there's nothing interesting to cast. Like, you can tell that the other team is clearly outmatched, and trying to find things to be able to comment on makes it incredibly difficult as a caster to try to swing it into a positive light. So, I don't know. Let's see how good I did. I think I was dumbfounded a majority of the time. I guess I was just hoping that there would be more of a fight, but
team together, and honestly,
we'll see.
It's the support line. That's really the biggest aspect of this that is holding them all together. As long as one support is still alive for Fusion University, I think they're going to continue to hold strong in whatever match we see them going forward.
Let's actually turn our attention. We've been focusing on the narrative of these big teams in Contenders Trials, Sheer Cold and Fusion University. Let's talk about Older Board and Raspberry Racers for a bit, because both of those teams, I would say, are in pretty good positions to get the 3rd and 4th spot that allow you to get into Contenders. And they both actually finished 7th or 8th, both respectively, 7th or 8th, in the last 2 Contenders seasons that we had in March and April. So what's interesting...
I will admit this was another issue that we had beforehand with Snappy. We did go back and listen to that name from the other casters. That's another way that you can figure out kind of the best way to say a player's name if they don't give like a pronunciation in the pronunciation guide. And believe me, There are quite a few teams that do. Go, just ask in open division. That it happens a lot. Um, but nevertheless, um, like going back and listening, we had heard it from a caster that had previously done a Olden board that it was snappy, and I had forgotten it at the beginning of this match, beginning of this match, which really sucked. Because I wanted to say their name right. I think we ended up getting it by this point, but I felt really bad that I got it wrong in the beginning.
March and April. So what's interesting to me now,
Again, one of those dad brain things I need to. If I get like the roster out, I think that's one of the other things I'll add. Is just it'll be like name, pronunciation, and pronouns. I think it's gonna be the way to go. Excuse me.
This is definitely some interesting choices getting ready to come out for Olden board. Using Cappy on the Ash, which we know them to be very formidable for. J-Karu getting booped on down by a Starboy who has opted for the Brig this time around. Looking to get a little brawly, make sure to protect that back line on. We do see Fusion U moving into that high ground space, pushing back. Olden board, big anti-nade coming in from Boombox, finds two, but the cleanup's just not there. Payload is furiously moving its way forward, and Olden board really got to find an answer to all this aggression.
Yeah, and it looks like Timo was just about to go down, but Fusion University now have got the position.
So I won't be completely hard on myself. That was a good throw. Because even though at that point there was no eliminations yet, it didn't seem like there was going to be a fight to break out anytime soon. Olden board were just kind of like pulling back and pulling back and pulling back, and so it was really hard to tell if they were actually going to engage on the objective.
They can control the area and anyone's payload. They can control that blue box on the
Sir Gibson goes down here.
Has all you could ever ask for.
Maybe.
An attack round of Gibraltar, as long as they can keep Sugar Free up and keep their support.
Like, see, oh, Teresa, but like, see right here, the rest of their team, they had 4 people still in this area, and they all pulled back, giving up that high ground to Fusion University. Like, I don't know. That was just weird. That was just weird.
Alright, we see Fusion U holding this high ground, just aggressing to wherever Olden board seems to be, and the melt just continues to come in. Shockwave, Jolly, and Funny all lining up that kill feed, and it's easy day for Fusion U as they grab Objective Alpha and head into the hangar.
Yeah, no, what's even scary.
I need to work better on my pronunciation. Like, I feel like I'm saying words properly, but, like, I don't know. I guess that's more of a pet peeve than anything, because it sounded like I said anger. I head to the anger.
They grab Objective Alpha and head into the hangar.
Oh, maybe I did say hanger. Maybe it's a little hard for me to hear. I'm keeping it low so I'm not blowing y'all's eardrums out. I'm just old. I've noticed that a couple other times too, though, so it's not just that one.
Boombox and J-Kari teaming up once again for a pretty simple team fight. I'd imagine that's what they're gonna opt for.
All right, we see Timo jumping in on top of the ship, trying to provide some space and clear Fusion U of that high ground advantage. Gonna go ahead and jump on back up as the rest of the team moves in onto that cart, but the payload is already almost into Objective Bravo. Shockwave finds Pure Irish, but Sir Gibson gets the trade with the Pulse Bomb. Jolly getting one of their own, and Poco just absolutely supercharged right now. Sir Gibson trying to stagger the 5.5 minutes, flying through the hangar as they move into Objective Charlie. And it just doesn't seem that they can shut down Fusion U.
Yeah, they're gonna have a graviton.
Again, could have thrown that so much sooner than then.
Surge for this next fight as well. And they're probably gonna be able to clean that up quite easily. All they have to do is wait for Pure Irish's particle barriers to be gone, Going on Surge, and this next team fight will probably be theirs. On the board, they have one other way to disrupt that, and that's an aggressive friendly rage to stop the one. But can they do that?
Ooh, really fat grab coming in as we see Poco just melting away. Supercharged and ready and raring to go. Cappy gets melted down. It is the Poco show, Poco yo, as they go ahead and clear the objective.
Oh my god. Oh. Sorry, Poco yo.
Once again, and now it's a spawn hold, which seems to be Fusion U's specialty right now. It seems that no matter what they can do to try to get out of there,
Perfect
they're just
stick.
going to be met with ultimate after ultimate. Cappy swapping over to the Reaper to be able to try to touch the objective. Ends up getting zoned out by Shockwave there on the high ground, and it's just too little, too late. 7 seconds shy of a very nice time as Fusion U walk away with objective Charlie.
That's gotta be a record for Contenders Trials, right?
In rewatching this video, a comment was made, Caster making very subtle 420 joke. Nice. Really put a smile on my face that somebody got that.
That's got to be a record. 4 minutes and 27 seconds left on the clock. The only thing
That actually is probably a record for this map for contenders in contenders trials.
But the setup was perfect. It just like Oldenburg didn't really even need to lose any players. Fusion University just out-rotated them. Oldenburg knew if they take any engagement, they're gonna lose it, and well, they did. Fusion University, they set up really well on point A. Their fight plans were great for the rest of the map, and one notice I want to give is that the first fight on point B, right? Fusion University, they nanoboost Jaikaru, and Timo goes for an engagement on the high ground of the Poco. And all on boards, nanoboost comes late, which means that Poco is able to survive, and Jaikaru gets the nanoboost early and is able to get a kill. Maybe Fusion University, or the difference between these tier 2 teams, or tier 1 teams in Fusion University's case, and tier 2.5, tier 2 teams, is the sharpness of getting a nano boost engagement fight, or the sharpness of looking for an opportunity. Like Sugarface getting so much value, maybe they're just able to figure out.
This is the fun part, because this is where Fusion Unite just trolled into oblivion, in my personal opinion, earning their funny title, F-U-N-I, F-U-N-I. By the way,
more opportunities for that value to go through. Maybe that's the difference between the good teams and the less strong teams that we're seeing right now.
I think the thing that interests me the most right now of what we're seeing coming in is this Echo versus Junkrat battle. Things are about to get a little explodey, folks. Question is, will it be enough for them to be able to push back against Oldenburg? Because Oldenburg already got that cart moving. They don't have to fight him on the high ground as long as that cart is moving forward, and they might just be waiting to see if Fusion University will go ahead and be aggressive, B-E aggressive. It looks like they will go ahead and zone out just a little bit as Oldenburg pull back, get healed up, and prepared to push that cart a little bit further.
I'm not sure what Oldenburg are waiting on. It's a junk crack. You know, just make sure that you're buy into it. You can't just let him spam the entire game. And Shockwave is
Sometimes I love Ocean's analysis. It's just very straightforward. It's like, what is Oldenburg waiting for? It's a Junkrat. It's like, yeah, it's a Junkrat.
Very long time here. Already 72% to that rate.
Alright, well, we see the sleep dart.
Like, I get what he's saying. It's just funny to listen back on sometimes.
Does end up sending Jaikaru into a little nap as Timo sends the payload into the underground. Shockwave just kind of zoning out the objective. I've seen very little eliminations going on because it just seems to be a poke battle right here. Oldenburg and Fusion University, I'm not for certain which, are not looking to commit to this fight just yet. Shockwave coming out with the tire. Cappy now on the Ash. ends up burning it down with the dynamite. And now Gialli on the low ground just trying to zone out, seeing if they can keep away anyone of Olden.
Just a sec.
Going on. Does end up
Yeah, Caffey started on the McCree. Okay.
Not looking now.
Just wanted to make sure I was making the right comment.
Just trying to zone out, seeing if they can keep away anyone of Olden board off this objective. Sir Gibson now coming on to the Zarya, trying to see if they can get that charge high enough to get the Graviton Surge on the line. It's not oh, just barely able to get the Graviton, but I don't think they noticed that they got it out, or whether they caught anybody in it to begin with. I don't think they not objective. Sir Gibson now coming on to the Zarya, trying to see if they can get that charge high enough to get the Graviton Surge on the line. It's not oh, just barely able to get the Graviton, but I don't think they noticed that they got it out, or whether they caught anybody in it to begin with. Fight continues onward as the pick
didn't catch anybody.
Gialli holding strong boombox with the big sleeping anti-nade onto Sir Gibson, and funny ass.
Oh, here we go.
Send them all right back to spawn.
And Fusion University.
The iconic meme pose that we have of Fusion Uni touching the spawn doors yet again.
Where they probably belong in the trials, up to the spawn doors,
because they're a bunch of trolls. Because they know they can get away with it.
You know, in the most recent contenders, they're 2-1. They haven't lost a game until this. You know, they're a good team, but Fusion University are just class after class above the rest. I mean, maybe all the board could try and get back into this map. They've got value engagement to maybe get a big Graviton Surge. That's something they can look at. But what are you going to grab here? Okay, they're going to grab their own corner, but that's what Jakar and Poco are.
You know what? If that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. Unfortunately, Cappy wasn't ready for Poco to fight back. The Rockets just absolutely obliterate that Reaper, and that's a great response for this tank line, trying to see if they can
Bimo, welcome to the family. Glad to have you.
There's a lot of healing coming in from Funny and Boombox right now, and they're pretty much going uncontested. Shoot, Shockwave! It's just literally standing in place right here. It just isn't working. Oh my goodness! The picks coming in right now for Olden board, finally able to create some space. Snappy falling down to half health as well as Timo, and it doesn't look like they will go ahead and take Shockwave out of this fight as well. Poco able to get that pick onto Snappy in the end, and that payload's moving its way into objective alpha. Fusion, you might try to contest this. They will push in for the contest because it is a 4v2 right now. The tire comes in, probably not going to end up getting much of anything.
This was insane, right? So I can't even fault myself for how this went, because I held it way longer than I should have, but because of all the insane things that were going on, I had no clue as, like, where to throw it to Ocean here. Like, absolutely no clue. Because it was just an absolute meme fest for, like, the last minute and a half. And so I don't know. As you can tell, we were both just kind of flabbergasted at everything that was going on. I mean, the biggest one for me was this. Boombox throws the nano in onto Shockwave. Shockwave stands perfectly still while Poco defends them with the defense matrix. Oh, God. It hurt. It hurt so bad. Great Scott indeed. I will be, Pimo, I will be sure to have Mini Jack say hi next time they're on stream. That's my oldest kid, by the way, if you didn't know. And they're currently in bed. So, next time, when they're up and I'm on stream, I'll make sure to have them do that. But Sag, like, this hurt my soul, man. It just hurt my soul.
Oh my goodness! is. The picks coming in
Like,
right
this is
now.
just
Poor
so
Oldenburg finally able to create
ridiculous.
some space. Snappy falling down to half health as well as Timo. And it doesn't look like they will go ahead and take Shockwave out of this fight as well. Poco able to get that pick onto Snappy in the end. And that payload's moving its way into objective alpha. Fusion U might try to contest this. They will push in for the contest because it is a 4v2 right now. The tire comes in, probably not going to end up getting much of anything, but in the last 10 seconds, zones out pretty well.
I mean, how a couple raids come up with, so it's
Okay, I didn't hold it the whole time. But I really should have gave it up a lot sooner than that.
Comfort is definitely the word for it. It's like they're all in lazy boys, just kind of kicking their feet back and like, yeah, we're playing a game, Mom. I think. I'm not exactly for certain right now, but we're having a good time. But nevertheless, Old and Board are finally able to struggle bust their way into Objective Alpha. And now that they're in the hangar, hopefully they can start turning things around. Maybe add some time back to this spot.
Yeah, I mean, Fusion University, they do gift Old and Board at that point almost.
They gift. They truly did gift Old and Board that point. Not even gonna lie there.
We'll see if they can get some value out of that. It's funny, Astro and Boombox look towards
Right, rally v rally as we see Timo poking in from the back door.
So I will say this part, and this part sucks, because there was nothing that we could do about overlaps like these, is that Discord, so, like, how is it going? Like, Discord, no, because we were muted in Discord. I guess I don't know what was going on here. But nevertheless, like, for me, at least on my end, Ocean was cutting out every now and again, which you have issues like that with TeamSpeak or Discord or whatever every now and again. Like, that's just the internet. But I didn't notice that we actually overlapped here. So, and that sucks because you can't control that because you think they're done, you know?
With the Primal Rage finds Pure Irish and gets some help from Poco onto Timo. That's a clear of the objective. Another spawn hold in the making from Fusion U.
Yeah, Pure Irish gets the chromaton surge, don't I? You'll be able to follow up these kills.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold my. Well, you know what? Good on you. I wasn't gonna hold my breath on that one. I thought Poco was gonna get the eat on that ante, but was unsuccessful right there. That's gonna create some space for Olden Board to be able to push back in as. What is this?
I mean, Chikara was emoting and Shockwave was just missing shots, so that's really what happened in the spawn rooms of Olden Board there.
Yeah, I guess this is a game all its own. I feel like I'm back in Overwatch tranquility now, folks, and this is our event week. Just having a good old time. Just having some fun, poking fun at each other right now.
Shouting out the brand, baby.
Fusion U and Olden Board are doing right now. Olden Board are still making the picks that they need to continue to push this cart forward. The question is Fusion University going to end this map, or are they going to keep us reeling for a couple more?
Looks like we're gonna see a little bit more of Watch Fight Gibraltar. We're gonna see some point C action. 2 minutes or so on the clock for Olden Board as they look to try and push the aggression. The advantage that Fusion University have, very, very kindly offered to them. They'll use that to their best advantage. They're gonna use that Graviton Surge to get even more space on point C Gibraltar. Not that they're using not a Fusion Uni spawn door. I think that's a nice bit of karma for Fusion right now.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It looks like Olden Board can play too. Gets a couple of picks there at the spawn door with the Graviton. Rallies popped out for either side right now. Starboy and Funny trying to push their team forward. We do see J-Karu falling incredibly low, able to escape at the last moment. Stuns coming in onto Timo as the Nano tried to provide some support, but it might not be enough to hold them together. The payload continuing to move its way forward as Pure Irish has just got a red hot laser sighted on anyone from Fusion University that's going to touch, and a good old Deadeye coming out from Shockwave. They're trying to zone out best they can. Jolly finding Starboy in the back line. Deadeye finds J. Karu. Cappy able to try to clean up this objective, but there might not be enough healing to hold it all together right now. As time continues to dawdle away, it seems that Fusion U will go ahead and take back this point.
Yeah, I mean,
That was a good throw. Finally. That fight just kept going and going and going.
But they're going to be close to Poco's Graviton Surge anyway, and they can use a Graviton Surge Pulse Bomb combo. Also close to the Nano Boost, where they can just send J. Corey into the back line for an absolute feast of kills. There's so many options online right now for Fusion University.
Yeah, now looking at the time bank, that was like a minute-and-a-half fight.
All right, Graviton Surge coming in from Pure Irish. Pulse Bomb combo finds Shockwave amidst the chaos. Now the Graviton in the opposite direction. Cappy finds J. Karu. This might be enough as overtime ticks away to be able to push into Objective Charlie. Ocean, we are not done yet. Fusion University not able to hold the spawn. Adds a minute to either time bank, putting Fusion U at a whole 5 minutes 20 seconds for their next attack.
Yeah, Fusion University, they kind of gifted Olden Boar the first 2 points, right? We can kind of agree on that. But I thought Olden Boar played quite well on point C. I thought they extended the advantage that
They really did.
University gave them on point B to give them a lot of space.
Although I think at a certain aspect, Fusion Uni did gift them point Charlie as well.
Pretty good team fight from them, and you know what?
There just didn't seem to be a coordinated attack looking back on it now. And
Yeah, that's pretty much all we get to see right here. The question is,
I don't know. I just wish it was closer. I wish it was more like Uprising Academy, like
funnies right now, but they can still be punished if Olden Board can find a way to just chip at this funniness and find a way to sneak at the crucial moments when Fusion U is like, okay, we're not messing around anymore. They could end up finding themselves with another 3 points on the board.
Yeah, it looks like we're seeing Sugar Free on the Junkrat this time around, of course. Junkrat, bit of a mean pick on Watch by Gibraltar. We've seen Shockwave on it the last time. And we're going to see Fusion University try it with Sugar Free this time. Fusion University try this with Sugar Free this time around.
All right, well, we'll see how much value comes in, and Cappy already finding Jolly, aka Sugar Free, there on the flank. And it looks like that payload's going to start moving its way forward.
the way that all casters say Jolly sounds like we're saying Jolly, and it's really weird.
Remember, there's only a minute on the clock for Olden Board, so overtime's going to be ticking away here very quickly. And with Snappy and Timo already down, that's pretty much the only time that they're going to be able to abandon cart safely for the rest of this match.
Yeah, they do get to a little bit of distance on the carts. They get that underneath the tunnel. I mean, it's not horrible, and Sugar Free could suck on the Genji to, I guess, target the back line a little bit more. I had enough of that jump out there.
Alright, so Jolly swapping over to the Genji. Typically, this is not the pick that we would be looking at for right here, folks. I'm sure you all know that at home. But it's going to be interesting to see how that is utilized and if they will be punished for utilizing it. Overtime now ticking away as Jolly is looking to earn their way up to that Dragon Blade. Shockwave already has that Pulse Bomb online and is waiting for the combo. Poco just 10 away from that Graviton, but Pure Irish not going to allow that to happen. Jolly gets the trade onto Caffey, returning the Deadeye back to sender. And now it's a 5v5 fight on that objective. We see the Tracer battle there in the backline between Sir Gibson and a Shockwave. And Shockwave, I believe, is making their way to meet Caffey at spawn. I'm not 100% for certain. Bunny Astra now coming out with the rally, trying to hold the team together as everyone falls incredibly low in the Graviton Surge. The flail finds Pure Irish, and that might be just enough damage to hold it all together. Poco is poking with the right click, and at 62 meters, they will go ahead and lock down Objective Alpha and set a win condition.
I thought it was bad enough when I was casting it. It looks worse when I watch it back and am able to see more of the picture. It truly is. Like, go back here. Snappy is in the back line of Fusion University. And you know what Astro does? Astro rallies and turns around. Not a care in the world. No one is paying attention to the fact that Snappy is in Funny's backline. Because they're all decimating the rest of the team.
And at 62 meters, they will go ahead and lock down Objective Alpha and set a win condition for this possibly final match.
I was thinking about making a 69 joke here. It did. I didn't end up doing it, but I thought about it. It could have been such a nice number of meters.
We shall
No, that's
see.
not a challenge. That's...
Uh,
Surely Fusion University don't control that much, right?
We shall
No,
see.
that's not a challenge. That's not a challenge.
That's not a challenge,
That's
Fusion
not a
dude.
challenge.
That's not a challenge.
But, I mean, we've seen bigger holes and much bolters.
That's
Actually,
true.
that's a lie. No, we haven't.
I mean, maybe not at this level. I know in my comp games I've seen them, and that's pretty much what this is looking like at this point. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It seems like a platinum comp game finding themselves here in Contenders Trials because it just doesn't seem... It seems that no matter what Fusion University comes out with, they're just able to lock it down, and that really goes to show that team comp is only part of the equation, right? Obviously, you want to be able to counter the counters of the enemy team, but communication and coordination are also huge parts about what makes this work. And oh man, normally I love it, but it's such, oh man, Ocean.
I don't like this either.
As you can tell, we were just done. We were just done at this point. Now, typically, I love seeing the Bastion come out at this level of play because you don't get to see it very often. But when it comes out as a troll pick, it hurts.
I mean, normally
It really
I would,
hurts.
right? Normally I'd be really excited about this because I love seeing my good old Bastion-y boy coming out into the action. But it's just sad at this point. It just makes me sad. Because now we're going to see Shockwave on the Symmetra just melting down Timo with the turrets. Picks coming in return for Old and Board, but without the main tank in the fight, it's going to be really hard for them to hold the payload where it is. This pirate ship going to get set up here rather quickly, and that payload's going to start moving.
Yeah, we should have freezed on the high ground. Never mind, they decided to walk off of it just to get some more kills, though. Pick up Cappy. And, yeah, I wonder if he's, Sugar Free just gonna set up on the plate with Poco and Funny Astro. Oh, they're my best buds right now. Hikaru also close to that primal rage to make things a little bit harder for all the board to even get that Bastion off of the payload. Gonna have some fun disruption on that.
Hikaru falling low, but got the primal online. Teleporter heads to the high ground, and Jolly is just pumping out damage. Was having a really hard time seeing due to that teleporter's blinding light, but it doesn't matter because the light rings in victory for Fusion University as they go ahead and...
Light rings? What were you thinking? Light rings in victory.
Take Watch Point Gibraltar 4-3.
Onion
Well, that
rings
was
in
interesting,
victory.
that wasn't it? You know,
Anything would have been better.
They had their fun, but they also demonstrated their quality, didn't they, Jack? Right? You know, that first round, their offense, 4 minutes and 27 seconds left on the clock. That's insane. We're not going to see an attack of Gibraltar like that for the rest of this Contenders Trials, or even the next Contender season. I highly doubt it anyway, right? Not with that much quality, you know?
No, you truly won't. Man, that hurt just as much the second time to watch that. I wanted to see if I could learn anything more from it, but I think the thing that I learned from it is, as a caster, you're gonna run into these really bad matchups, I guess. Like, no matter what level of competition you're at, like even the casting I do at Tranquility, there's some teams, in Harmony, Discord, and Transcendence tier that are just so opposite ends of the spectrum. And, nothing wrong with that. They just, one team's still kind of working their way up, but at the end of the day, there's a vast skill difference, or there's a vast play difference or communication difference between the two teams, and Fusion Uni just had it in spades today. They just really did. So, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our practice video to see if I can get some actual practice in today. This comes from week 1, stage 4? Yes. Yes. Actually, that's backwards. Stage 1, week 4 of Overwatch Tranquility. It is the matchup between Dirt and Infrared. I like Dirt. And so this was, I think they actually, no, they didn't have this rematch because Infrared ended up being on the Indigo side of the bracket. But even though this was a hard match for Infrared, to see them come back in the playoffs was really cool. So, all right. I believe that this was also early days of Laggy Sun. So, forgive any craziness. I've watched a little bit of the production quality so far, and I love you, Laggy. But I love how far you've come from this point. So, yeah, I mean, Laggy learned at such a quick pace too. Like, it was just absolutely amazing. So, all right, heading into King's Row right now. We have Dirt versus Infrared, as we see Infrared setting up right now, coming in with the standard rush composition, looking to use that McFlurry combo, Fredmaster and Karibo on that McCree and May. And it looks like they're going to be matched up here. Actually, almost hero for hero. Jax coming in on that Zarya to start things off. Now, this is going to be all about play and timing, because the Zarya's bubbles can only defend for so long. They got to be able to melt down quick. Maywall Ore coming out for Dragunov, as we see the Immortality Field up for intact. Tackle comes in, able to get the follow-up is Dragon. Jake's Billy got out of the fight, but Fredmaster trades back the truth on truth, and Dragon just starts lighting a fire up right now. Fredmaster trying to turn it back in their tide, taking down their counter, but it's not going to be enough. Dirt's going to go ahead and lock down the objective as we go ahead and see this push back in just barely, but not really going to happen here. The objective does get locked down. The question is, will they be able to pull back? They cannot. Dragunov with the double kill right there, as is just Melt City for Dirt, sending them all back to the far spawn and clearing the streets. Gotta throw earlier. Deadeye now coming out for Fredmaster, as trying to zone out to be able to create some space for them to be able to move back into this objective. Payload making its way around the corner as the Amp Matrix comes out for both sides. Maywall's for both sides, blocking all of that damage in either direction. Other ultimates coming online right now. The big ones to look at are the Blizzard Shatter. Out from Billy God, gets nothing but shield right there, and Dragon just starts lighting up the kill feed. The Blizzard comes out though from Karibo, but the question is, the damage gonna be there? Shatter out from Truth, and that is going to be a cleanup in the opposite direction. They just took too long working on Karibo's Blizzard. Couldn't get around that payload fast enough. and Dirt will pay them back in kind by clearing the objective and pushing the payload into Objective Bravo. Billy got caught out of position right there, but the Immortality Field holds together. Deadeye out from Fredmaster, looking for that hit, and Shromo making Truth have to choose between the Deadeye and the self-destruct. Can't protect both, unfortunately. Oh, I paused. Gonna be sent back to spawn. 5 minutes, though, remaining on the clock for Dirt. Dirt moving back in as the Amp Matrix comes out, but they just walk right on past it. Immortality down. Billy got with the double fire strike, though, as Truth tries to turn this fight right on around. Triple kill off the back of a fat old shatter. Vila getting sent right on over the edge. And that is going to be it for this fight. 4 minutes, 25 seconds on the clock as the payload moves into Objective Charlie. Should have cut right there. Did not have to call out the time. The Venn diagram of Blizzards comes out on the field as both beats get invested to try to counter. Truth ends up taking Billy God off the side, taking both main tanks out of the fight right now. Karibo trying to hold on to this objective with the rest of Infrared as the Immortality Field comes out to hold Dragon in place. Pusey sending Shromo over the side, getting that off tank off the field, and a fat old chatter comes in. Truth was not ready for it, but the cleanup's just not there. The DPS aren't able to get the picks that they need. Fredmaster with the Deadeye grabs the double. Truth getting a little bit too aggressive right there. Will pay for it as the payload stalls at 64 meters. Infrared doing a great job right now of shaving time off the clock. Counter tackles coming in, but Billy got pays with their life as Dragon finds Karibo with the Deadeye. Shromo now trying to hold this objective together, but the Shatter is not going to allow that to happen in the least. Amp Matrix from Tasty just pumps out damage like a sieve. And not even really using the Graviton Surge other than a throwaway ultimate to keep them in spawn. 2 minutes, 47 seconds on the clock as Dirt heads to the defense to keep Infrared from pushing in. Caden, thank you for the raid. Appreciate you all coming in. Absolutely. I really am thinking one of the things that is kind of hurting Infrared here is just their mistiming that we continue to see. You know, that the Shatters coming down at the wrong time, the Deadeyes being used to zone, which is typically what you would use them for, but not getting the full value that we're seeing coming out from Dragon's Deadeyes. And maybe just trying to find other ways to be able to push into the objective. Let's see if Infrared can turn this around as they head to the attack. Billy got in the rest of Infrared, choosing not to use the statue for cover this time around. Shield falls low and just barely going to be able to pull right back on in. The Alderworth looking to take up some occupancy, but it looks like Infrared are going to go ahead and utilize that to their advantage, kind of do a double fake out right there. Karibo ends up being found by Dragunov, sent back to spawn with the help of Dragon, but there is a trade on the field. Billy got almost getting caught out right there. Gonna be unsuccessful, doing a great job on that Rhine to keep from being walled off over and over again. Ant Matrix is out for either side right now as Dragunov finds Vila amidst the chaos on point. With already a minute off the clock, Infrared gonna be sent back to spawn, or at least sent back past the choke to wait for their team to regroup. Ultimate's online right now as we go ahead and see Billy got going for the charge, but gets frozen out, missing on a very big, what could have been a very fat shatter right there, unfortunately, but there it's too little too late right now. The cleanup comes in from Truth and Jax, and that's another fight gone for Infrared. What a snipe. Ultimate's coming online for either side, but Dirt is in the bank right now. Billy got caught on the other side of the wall and gets counter charged right there, just stunned out by, I believe, Fredmaster. But nevertheless, the Graviton Surge holds the wall, and there's Truth walking all the way to the spawn doors. Shromo getting chased into the corner. Putting baby in the corner. Not nice. Not nice, Dirt. They will go ahead and continue to hold, but Infrared getting ready to push back in with a vengeance. Sound barrier invested by Vila, trying to give Infrared a little bit more staying power as they push into this objective. Dirt doesn't really have any ultimates on the line, but that beat is going to would have been very useful for Dragunov's upcoming Blizzard. They're going to pull past the choke to regroup with the rest of the team for their next attack. Maywall comes up to create a little space. Deadeye out from Fredmaster, looking to hit. Finds Truth, but Dragunov, double, triple kill coming in. Oh no! Dragunov might as well put a sniper scope on the end of that cryo gun. There is just nothing that it seems this May player cannot hit. With only 30 seconds left on the clock, Infrared got to do something, and they got to do it quick. Or not. Ah! When I asked producers to record these without checking them ahead of time, I try not to watch these when I have a producer that's willing to record these because I don't want to see what happens. But if you want to submit clips to me, please, please, please let the match play out and go back to lobby. Because now, like, I'm pretty sure that Dirt won. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%, but if I remember correctly, this match in week 1 was a 4-0. But nevertheless, make sure that your matches play all the way out and that you return back to lobby naturally if you want to give me codes to practice on. Because it sucks when it just ends like that. Is this casting that I'm missing? It is. It's my typical Friday nights when I'm not absolutely swamped with casting everywhere under the sun. I typically do casting on Friday nights, but we're at the end of the night, Bubba Wyatt, so unfortunately you'll have to go back and watch the VoD. But thank you all so much for joining me. If you want to get in on this, as always, my door is always open for anyone that wants to try out casting. Caden, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I know that you and Shammy are still having to do a sibling battle over there in the Pantheon server that I know that you two have to cast. You're more than welcome to come practice here if you'd like before that happens. And it's doors open to anyone else as well if you'd like to get in on the action here. I typically do it every Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Call times around 8:15, so I can get your camera and mic set up properly before we get started. So, yeah, it's been an interesting night. I really need to kind of look back and kind of reevaluate how I cast. There's a lot of habits that I'm still breaking from the previous years of casting. And it's been weird, right? Because people have enjoyed my casting for a long time. But in stepping up to the next level of doing stuff with Reflash at Open Division Contenders Trials, there's just kind of a different level of performance that I need to be at, and I'm just not there yet. And I know that I'm not there, and, you know, whether it be technical bugs or me just not being on my game, I really just need to keep working at the craft and do what I can to try to beat that. So, my throws still need a lot of work. Being able to focus on the bigger picture a lot more, including players in my notes between matches, and being sure to check all my audio devices before we go live are things that I am still needing to work on. So I am actually going to go ahead and figure out who we're going to send it to. Rip, I know. I'm so sorry that you ended up getting here so late. But yeah, I think it's already. Oh crap! It's already 11 o'clock. Well, we started at 9, so now I'm gonna go ahead and find somebody to send this to. I do have a new game that we're gonna play this weekend, though, and to be frank about it, it's a new game that I might look into casting, which is weird, right? I didn't think that there'd be another game that I'd be really interested in casting. I'm not big into Valorant or Apex or Fortnite or Rocket League. Although I feel like I could give Rocket League a shot. I don't think that would be too bad. I just have to watch more of it and get interested in it, I suppose. But nevertheless, it's an interesting game, and I think I'll play it sometime this weekend. So be sure to pay attention to Twitter. I don't know if it's going to be Saturday or Sunday just yet. I'm still kind of recovering from the COVID shot, as you could probably tell tonight. I've been a little tired, even though I'm normally pretty wide awake and whatnot at this time. But nevertheless, we trounce forward. Let's see if we can find any of our lovelies doing their thing right now. Actually, you know what? Right now, I want to give some love to Lone Star Vanguard, which, if you don't know, is the community, or like the fan Discord for the Houston Outlaws. If I can spell. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and send them a little raid. They're playing Overwatch right now, so of course we try to send over as best connected games as we can. So should be interesting to see what they're doing. It's Friday night. They're probably doing pugs. So if you're in the Lone Star Vanguard server, get on in there, have some fun with pugs, and thank you so much for spending time with me. Quick reminder, we got the sub goals right there. Not a requirement. At very least, join the family. Hit that heart. Hit the bell so you get notified when I'm online. Not everybody follows me on Twitter, and that's okay. But you won't know when I'm online if you don't hit the bell so that it lets you know. So if you can do that at very least, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you have it in you, sub $4.99. If you have Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime, you get a free subscription. You can give it to anybody, and if you give it to me, that would be greatly appreciated. So because we're this close, we're like $12 away from getting paid out, and then we get to do like some giveaways or something. I think would be really neat. So thank you so much for spending your evening with me while I continue to learn and hone the craft of casting. We'll see you all next time.
Perhaps the Brig is not the right choice here, as she is not able to get in there and brawl it out with the Doom and the Soldier.